Warning: the following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences, including in-depth discussions of experiences from funeral directors and first call responders. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
For real, don't watch this if you think it's gonna give you a panic attack. Like, I've been there. It's not fun. Just click off the video now. Okay. Okay, we're ready to go.
If you're hearing this, you're not dead. Not yet. Maybe not even soon. But until we find the fountain of youth or are able to transfer our consciousness to the internet, death is an immutable fact that we all have to live with. It's a terrifying concept, and most people want to be as far away from it as possible. However, with a daily total of 8,295 deaths in America alone, there are those that must be in close proximity to it, whether they like it or not. It's only natural to want to lock your window on a windy night, to hide under covers as your walls breathe and creak, to shrink away from a world filled with so much sorrow and unknowable pain. But the longer we hide, the larger these threats grow in our minds. We shut out the good along with the bad, and miss out on the things in life that make suffering worth going through. I encourage you to join me in uncovering the worst this world has to offer, in looking into the abyss and asking how its weekend was, in getting to know the unknown. Let's spiral down the mortal coil. Welcome to the very first episode of The Mortal Coil. I'm your host, and today we're interviewing people who work in the death industry in an effort to understand how one can keep their spirits high, even in the bleakest of circumstances. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Do you have a loved one you wish to cherish forever, even though their time has passed? Try post-mortem photography, a practice that's fallen out of fashion since Victorian times, but soon to be revived as a classic way of celebrating the life of the people we hold closest. We offer changing rooms with props and costumes for every occasion, state-of-the-art cooling pods to keep the deceased fresh in between shoots, and on-site professional mortuary cosmetologists to help your loved one emanate that glow they had in life. Come visit us at use the code Rigor Mortis to get a free stack of 10 postcards with your order. A perfect gift for the holidays.
Postmortem photography is not responsible for any legal and/or psychological ramifications that may arise from its clients excavating grave sites because it is not a real business and will not accept any clients. Please do not contact us.
Welcome back. In the time we were away, our esteemed guests have materialized right outside my door. So let's see what they're up to. Hey guys, first of all, thank you for being here today and agreeing to answer my little questions about big things.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So, just to kick things off, tell us about yourselves and what it is you do.
We are a cremation service and a funeral home. We are located in Southern California, and we do pretty much anything pertaining to death care. I think some of us have a crazier scope of a job here. Hank, he is like top tier ghoul. He's very, very experienced in this industry, and I can't think of anybody else who has like a crazier scope of a job than Hank.
Oh, thank you. Every situation is unique, and so that could be anything from a young child that's passed because somebody shook him to death, to a person that checked into somewhere and they found him weeks later. But hey, there's a job to do, and it's got to get done, and it's got to get done professionally and with compassion, because it's not like picking up a couch. You're picking up a human being, a person, and they deserve that respect and humanity. It's always good to see at the end of the day that families are happy with what you're able to do for them and kind of give them some closure at the end of the day.
Would you be willing to share with us some of the worst experiences you've had on the job?
coming across people that, for whatever circumstances passed away and weren't found for a long time. It's images and smells, things that nobody wants to be.
There are certain situations I've been in where, like, say I had to go over and deliver clothes somewhere, but walking in and just being like, oh my gosh, like, I'm walking in on a full autopsy and it looks like Knott's Berry Farm at Halloween Haunt, and it's very shocking. Shocking would be the word for that.
There's one specifically. There's one single person single-handedly popped out my shoulder when we were trying to transport him.
He was very large.
He was
very
huge guy. He was a decomped guy. Everything that could go wrong would go wrong with this guy. He went to go do an autopsy, and one of his balls exploded.
He went to get embalmed.
Yeah. I mean. And it just like exploded everywhere, and he was a whole mess. And he was just decomped, so he stunk. There's nothing in the world to stop this man's smell. And there were just multiple things with this guy.
I think he's very traumatized from this case because it's a weekly occurrence. He's like, and then that one time he popped out my shoulder.
Popped out my shoulder.
And that evening, our motion sensor alarms went off 3 times.
Yeah. Originally, we thought there was like a burglar because we got the alert that the cops were being dispatched.
You get people that come in here and they're like, oh, I feel a presence. I never feel a presence here. Like, I never feel anything. But we had a woman come in. We had to travel pretty far to get her. She had no family here, but she had like kids scattered everywhere. I guess she had, men scattered everywhere. More power to her. Like, she lived her best life. But in death, we felt that she was maybe unsettled. So the day that we bring her into our care center, we have a candle burning, and we always have candles everywhere here. And the candle turns black. The glass on it turns black that day. The next day they take her out for embalming. And when they open up her bag, a huge spider crawls out of this bag, and we're having issues with the motion sensors. We're getting calls from our security system being like, hey, are we gonna dispatch out the cops? The minute that she was sent for cremation, all of it stopped. Like, everything stopped.
And no more issues with the alarm, nothing. Like, everything, just like nothing had happened. It went back to normal. We deal with, hundreds of people, and those ones always stick out.
Has working so close to death changed your perspective on life and or the afterlife?
Working in death has shown me personally that life is so sensitive. Like, it's so delicate. You can literally die walking up the street. You can be a healthy 32-year-old man and just drop dead right then and there. Or you can be a woman who lives 100 years and has a full life. And, in the words of Aaron Burr, life does not discriminate. And I don't know if I'm necessarily religious. I believe that there's something out there. I don't know what it is. And I just kind of live every day like you're just going to be passing and you're going to be the person being picked up next.
Yeah, honestly, I've kind of fallen in the same thing. Just how fragile life has become much more apparent since working here, because you never know, what day is going to be your last. Stuff like that definitely weighs heavy. But at the same time, you also kind of come to grips that there's not much you can do about it. Like, it's happening. It's going to happen to everybody. It's going to happen to, every living creature there is. So you just got to psych yourself out. You just got to live your life to make sure that the time you do have, you have to make it count.
Well, I was raised Roman Catholic. I do believe there's God, and I do believe there's good and evil. And I do think you should thank God for your life every day. And that's what I do when I wake up. I'm like, hey, thanks for letting me live another day, and thanks for keeping my family safe. We're all gonna die. We're death and taxes. We're not getting away from it. I drive defensively, and I drive like an old person. I don't want to get hit, or I don't want to get shot because of road rage. I'm surprised at how many people are dying young people are dying from fentanyl. Yeah, but I would definitely say it's changed my perspective. What was the question?
Are you yourself afraid of death?
I definitely don't think I'm afraid of death just because you cannot avoid it. I am a little more cautious, but you see how things go in life. You see how everything is here, and I don't know. I think death might be the break. I think that might be the actual break.
Yeah, honestly, I'm scared of death, but I was scared of death even before I started working here, so nothing has changed as far as that's concerned. It just continues on, but yeah.
I used to be terrified of death when I was like 10, 12 years old. Like, couldn't sleep at night and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm definitely more careful. I mean, make better decisions and don't speed. Don't be texting and on the phone while you're driving.
Don't take fentanyl.
Don't take fentanyl. And, be defensive because it's easy to lose your life.
Do you have any advice for those who may be struggling with their mortality?
My advice would be, don't concentrate on death while you're living. Like, don't concentrate on your death while you're living. Just continue living because you don't know how much time you have, and enjoy it. Enjoy it while you're here because one day you won't be.
It's inevitable, it's gonna happen, so there's no point in stressing over it and working yourself up over it. Best to spend your time here on this planet trying to enjoy the time that you do have. Not only that, but almost using it as a motivating factor. Because of those reasons, you want to make sure that you are doing as much as you can. You're only going in one direction, so make the most of it.
I think people that are struggling with mortality, that's something normal. Personally, I think once we die, we're going to be in a better place. And I've looked at different ways of thinking, and for other religions, their concept of life is not to be sad, but happy that they've moved on to another life form or into another being. Also, I would pray on it. A lot of times you have the answers to your questions. You just have to ask.
What do you want to be reincarnated as?
I don't know. I don't know.
I want to be a rich person's dog. Like 100%.
I wanted to thank you all again for taking the time to answer my questions. I know that there are probably countless stories and subjects that we just can't get to in one episode, but...
Well, thank you for that transition. You can always get to those stories with Gossip Ghoul. We are a new podcast coming out in probably about a month or so. We're just kind of like ironing out our creases. We have a ton of crazy stories. I mean, you might hear more about popping balls because we got a couple of those. Mostly you're going to hear about things that you really don't talk about outside of the funeral home. So please find us on Instagram for just at Gossip Ghoul. There's a little skull drinking some coffee because he's spilling the tea.
Thank you all for listening to the first episode of The Mortal Coil. If you like what you saw or heard, depending on your platform of choice, drop a like and leave a comment telling us what topics we should cover next. We're dying to hear from you. Okay, bye.